Okay, this is the start of my sub sandwich cake. I have baked two 9 by 9 inch cakes, one chocolate, one white. The customer wanted both flavors, and I've cut them in half. This is the chocolate for the bottom. I've cut it in half and placed it end to end. I cut a cake board. It's 19 inches long, so I think it's probably 14 inches wide, whatever the standard cake board is. I've cut it in half. This is one half for my bottom, and then I'll cut the top or the other half down even further so it just fits under the top bun of my cake to hold it, keep it from falling and warping. It'll make a nice straight bun for the top. And I'm going to clean off some of this extra icing around the edge, and then I will roll out the fondant for my bun, and I'll be right back. Okay, when I went to roll out my fondant for the bottom bun, I realized I probably needed to do the top first because it takes more fondant. I don't want to be left without enough to do it, and it's going to be the one that's most seen. So I went ahead and rolled it out, covered my top two cakes that I had cut and placed together the same way. The board I cut for underneath them was just a little smaller than the actual cake. And then what I did was I took some vodka and some warm brown Wilton, I think it's a gel, no, I'm sorry, it's not Wilton, it's a Maricolor gel paste, and I squeezed a little bit out into my palette. I dipped my brush in the vodka, dip some in the brown, kind of make darker colors, lighter colors, and then I just use my brush and just kind of paint it on there to make it look like the bread's been browned in the oven. I'm going to thin it out a little bit more with the vodka. The edges you want a little darker to make it look like it would if it come out of the oven, because the edges are always a little browner. And the reason I didn't cover the entire cake with fondant on the bottom is because a lot of people don't like a lot of fondant. I do use the marshmallow fondant. It's a recipe by Liz Merrick, Artisan Cake Company. That's my favorite fondant recipe, made with marshmallows. And it is really good if you like fondant. It's just a little sweet for my taste. I just kind of prefer buttercream, mostly, and a lot of people do. So I didn't want to put a lot of fondant on this cake, especially when I'm going to have a lot of vegetables on top of this bottom layer. They're all going to be made of fondant, so I'm going to have a lot of fondant on it anyway. And I apologize if you can't see this very well because I'm having to hold my camera and do this at the same time. Okay, just need to get the end here. Try to blend in any areas that are too dark. You don't want it. You don't want your brush strokes to show. Okay, I think that looks good. And next I'm going to get out my fondant vegetables. I've already made the tomatoes, some ham, and some salami to put on it. I've got some green fondant ready to make some lettuce, and I'll be right back. Okay, here's some of the meat I've made for the sandwich and the tomatoes. If anybody's interested in learning how to make the tomatoes, comment on this video and I will try to do one for that. They're super easy and they look really cute. I'm just going to place those on my sandwich. Kind of want them sticking out a little bit so that you can see them when you put the top bun on. And that little spot there will be covered up when I put the meat on. Might want to scoot them out just a little more. You can always scoot these out when I try to put the top on and it doesn't show enough. And I've got one for the ends. Okay, there's my tomatoes. Now I'm not going to be able to hold the camera and put the meat on, but what I'll do is I'll just take some of these strips, probably fold them like that. I'll have to experiment a little with that, and then put them on the sandwich just like that. I'll do the same with these. I'll probably cut these in half, and so I'll have a lot more. I'll be able to stack up the meat a little higher. I may even do that with these, since all you will see is just a part of the meat once you get the top on anyway. And then I will come back and prepare the lettuce. Okay, now I've got my ham and my salami on the sandwich. I just kind of accordion folded it and just laid it on there in little pieces. And now I'm going to get out my green for my lettuce. I've made up several different shades of green fondant for my lettuce. This one I've kind of left marbleized, so it maybe will look more realistic. This one also. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll these out pretty thin. Then I'm going to cut them in strips, probably a little more than a 1/4 inch wide. Not exactly sure yet, but they're going to be pretty thin strips. It's going to look like shredded lettuce. And then I'll just I'll cut them into probably 2-inch strips and just kind of lay them on there, maybe crinkle some of them up, just to make it look like a lot of lettuce. And also, I'm going to use some white buttercream, and I probably will put that on first to look like mayonnaise. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'll show you a picture before I put the lettuce on.